Arcade Compilations 3 for Game Boy, a compilation of two classic Namco arcade shooters in Galaga and Galaxian. And what we have here is a quality conversion of two arcade classics courtesy of Namco, which is a pleasant change of pace because Namco has done a couple quality Game Boy ports of their Pac-Man and Ms. Pac-Man games, and you have that same level of quality here, but I'm jumping ahead. Anyway, you have Galaga, the classic shooter where you shoot space bugs and purposely get your ship captured so that you could rescue it and get double the firepower. And then you have Galaxian, the classic older shooter where you shoot space bugs with very slow shots while they swoop in at you. Goes without saying that if you're familiar with both games, then there's no surprises to be had here. A couple old school shooters that start off slow but pick up steam after a couple levels, and unlike the Code Monkey Accolade ports from the first two volumes, things do pick up. Well, as much as things pick up in Galaxian, of course, but otherwise these ports feel about as competent in terms of performance and challenge level, I guess, as anything on an NES or the like. That's a good thing, by the way. Control for both games are pretty solid, and really for games like these, one would assume a simple control scheme should be difficult to mess up, but it has happened on a number of occasions, and Arcade Classics 3 is not one of them. The sound quality is also pretty good for the most part. The tinny sound processing bits are able to recreate the classic arcade sound effects and jingles to a point, and they certainly sound the part. And the graphics are almost NES quality. Well, not so much on a vanilla Game Boy since you have that white space, but here's the deal. Arcade Classics 3, Galaga and Galaxian, much like the other arcade classic carts in this series, makes use of the Super Game Boy peripheral and does a better job of it than the other compilations. Yes, you have the arcade borders unique to each game, which is a regular with the series, but the game also provides a black backdrop as opposed to the standard white you get from playing on a regular Game Boy. This makes the games look about as close to arcade perfect as you could get with the hardware. The colors of the various cannon fodder might be wrong, but it really does look the part otherwise, and that's where it counts. Out of all four Arcade Classics compilations, this Galaga Galaxian combo card seems to be the best of the bunch across the board. The gameplay is solid and true to the source material, the sound quality is superb, and the Super Game Boy is put to good use here by making the games as close to arcade-like as possible within the limited color palette. As a two-game package for your Game Boy, it's perfectly acceptable fare and quite possibly the best old-school arcade port you could get at the time for the handheld. But as a Super Game Boy release, it really does the add-on justice and shines as a result.